Hey, it's MK, and I am back with another Baby Got Scraps, and today I am going to go and show you guys how I change my mind 6 times. I'm going to do a single page layout on this white piece of paper. I have 3 photos that after I look at it, these 2 look very similar, but I love the color in them, so I might still keep all 3 photos. I haven't made up my mind yet, so I will decide that in a minute. I also have some paper rose paper, that's the Mountain Trek collection. I also have this scrap piece of paper right here that is striped on one side and kind of distressed on the other, from Paper Phenomenon. And then these 2 pieces, I'm not exactly sure. I think they're Vicky Bouton, but I'm not sure where they came from. But I do know that they came in a Not Just for Boys Kit Club kit. This is also another piece of Mountain Trek paper. And then this is a Cocoa Vanilla. I believe it's the Boys Rule collection. That's where I got that one. And I picked out some flair. But because of how the direction of this layout changed, I won't be using the flare. I also have these pieces that I don't know the manufacturer, but I do know, I think it's Heidi Swap, to be honest. But I know that they also came in another kit that I received. I have some Heidi Swap definition words and then some stars that were kind of left over from my shop. It's just one of those where if a couple things break and whatnot, I end up with some of the leftovers. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my paper for the photo mats. And I went ahead and I did mat all 3 photos. I still haven't made up my mind if I'm going to use them all or not. But in the meantime, I'm going to punch this border out of the distressed Paper Phenomenon paper using this Martha Stewart border punch that I've had forever. It is my favorite punch to use on outdoor layouts because it's kind of like a fence, kind of like well, it's an ornate fence, but it is still kind of like a fence. And so it just makes sense to me to use it for outdoor layouts. It's kind of weird how I have punches for different types of things. Like I have punches for the theme parks, and I have punches for outdoors. I have punches, just for different things. And I've never noticed that before until like right now. So initially what I had in my brain is I wanted my panel to be on one side and this tree ring on the other side. But then I realized that my photos are going to cover up everything, like either the tree line or the tree ring. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, I don't really want that to happen. And now I'm starting to think that the border's not going to work either because it kind of looks weird with the tree ring. It's not really needed or necessary. So I am just trying to figure out how I'm going to get all of these to work. I do like the 2 trees, or the 2 photos down at the bottom for sure. Now this is just, again, photos taken from my car. We were driving around what is called the June Lake Loop, which is a huge loop that goes all the way around from the highway that brings you into June Lake, all the way around like June Lake, Gull Lake, Silver something Lake, all sorts of them. And it's just a beautiful ride. And so this was one that we were taking on our way back from a restaurant that we went to go at, not at June Lake, but over farther in. I think it was by Gull Lake. Anyways, it's just too many lakes to remember. But the sunset was just gorgeous. And so I wanted to make sure that I captured that part, especially all the pinks and the yellows within the sunset. It's just so pretty. But yes, what I initially thought of for my layout, it didn't really work because the elements were just too big and I had too many photos. Now, this is definitely one of those times where printing smaller photos would have came in handy. However, I don't think that the impact would have been the same. What I mean by the colors and just all of that over the lake type of sunset. I just don't think that it would have been there if I shrunk my photos. Anyways. So I decided instead to use the tree ring as my main focal point, kind of like a element behind the title type of deal, even though my title is very, very small and the tree ring is pretty big. I'm only going to have like one cluster of embellishments, and that's pretty much it because everything else is photos, right? Well, when I left the tree ring down all by itself, it was kind of sort of like screaming for mixed media, but I wasn't in the mood for mixed media, if I want to be honest. And now I'm also starting to think that my green that I used for the photo mat doesn't really go either because of the fact that I decided not to use that one piece of paper. So it's like, oh man, this whole layout took a direction that I was not expecting at all. But I did have these two kind of grid papers. Like I said, I think they're Vicky Bouton, but I'm not really sure. But they were perfect to fit behind my tree ring. Absolutely the perfect size. Didn't have to cut them. Didn't even have to think about what I was going to do with them. So I decided to go ahead and fill the gaps with my grid paper. Even though they don't match, I still really enjoy how they complete the background where I didn't have to do any mixed media whatsoever. And they just finished off what I thought was, a layout that was needing help. Okay. So then I decided, while I was debating, do I want the stars? Because yes, it's a sunset and the stars are starting to come out. You don't really see them just yet. And I only picked them because they're kind of black. They are black. They're black with speckled white dots on them. It's a galaxy print that they were cut out of. But I just thought that they would go really well with this layout, not really thinking of the direction I was going at all. And I was missing something, and it was green. I needed more green. I needed the green to make sense. And even though you can't see the tree colors in my photos, I thought that bringing in pine needles would represent the trees and also help me bring in a little bit more green because of the fact that most pine needles always stay green. They kind of sort of turn brown, but not really. I guess that depends on if they were falling or not. But yeah, it did help me for sure bring in that green that I felt like I was missing, but also represent what's in the photo because that's the exact same kind of sort of tree family that's in the photo. I couldn't tell you if they're pine needles or not. Anyways, so I absolutely loved bringing those in and being able to add that green. And then it did definitely help with the stars as well. So I made an executive decision and decided to use the stars. And that is it. This is where my layout, ended up with. I do have to tell you guys that I love my Paper Rose Mountain Trek collection so much that I've never used an entire collection all in 1 year before, you guys. I purchased this collection, nonstop used it. I couldn't tell you how many layouts I've gotten out of this, but I'm excited that I used it all up. I do have that one panel left, which I do plan on using for sure, probably within this series, because I just love that collection. All right. Be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Baby Got Scraps, and I will check y'all later. Thank you so much. Bye.